Hello, I'm Jonathan Dunsky, author of the Adam Lapid series, and today I'd like to tell you about the best book that I read in 2022, 5 Decembers by James Kestrel. 5 Decembers is a historical mystery set in the Pacific theater of the Second World War, and it spans 5 Decembers between 1941 and 1945. The story begins a few days before the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, and the protagonist is police detective Joe McGrady. McGrady is called one night to the scene of a brutal murder in a rural area of Hawaii, and there he discovers that two people have been slain. The first victim is a young Japanese woman whose identity is unknown. The second is a white man who McGrady soon learns is related to a high-ranking Navy officer stationed in Hawaii. And this Navy officer has such clout that the case becomes top priority for the police department in Hawaii, and McGrady is told to do whatever it takes basically to get it solved. McGrady is a conscientious, diligent, and talented detective, and he soon picks up a few clues which lead him to focus on a certain suspect. But by the time McGrady has focused on this suspect, the suspect has already left Hawaii, and McGrady now is forced to follow the suspect across many different places in the Pacific. And McGrady finds himself away from Hawaii on December 7th, 1941, when Japan attacks Pearl Harbor and America is thrust into the Second World War. McGrady is now stuck away from his home for the duration of the war in the Pacific, and he is unable to continue his investigation. And during this period of time, McGrady undergoes tremendous personal change, and he also faces many dangerous moments throughout the war. And it is only when Japan surrenders in September 1945 that McGrady is able to return to Hawaii and there to attempt to resume the case that he stopped investigating back in December 1941. What makes this book so special? What makes 5 December so great? There are a few elements that contribute to this, I think. First of all, the writing is terrific. The prose is raw and spare and to the point, and very much in the style of classic hard-boiled mysteries from the 1940s and 50s and 60s, which is a style of writing that I personally adore, and James Kestrel does it particularly well. Second, the author gives you, the reader, a very vivid and immersive sense of place. And this is true for all the locations that McGrady visits throughout the book. You get a sense of how these places looked and felt and smelled and how people lived there. And you also get a sense of the brutality of war and the cruel way in which people behave toward one another in the Second World War. But all these historical details do not weigh the story down, do not make it slower or boring in any way. They just give you a richer experience as a reader. And third, and I think this is the key element, is that the structure of 5 Decembers is very different from the structure of most other mystery novels. 5 Decembers has three distinct sections. There's this first section in which McGrady begins his investigation of the murder in Hawaii and proceeds all the way until McGrady finds himself stuck away from Hawaii because of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Then there's the middle section in which McGrady is stuck away from Hawaii for the duration of the war in the Pacific. And this section is very different from the one that preceded it. And it doesn't even feel like a mystery novel anymore, but more like regular historical fiction and even romance fiction. The pace is slower, the tone of the story is different, much more emotional, much more gentle and subtle in a way, but I was still enthralled throughout because the historical setting is so fascinating and the personal change that McGrady undergoes is so profound, and I found myself already caring very much about this character, and I wanted to know what he's going to go through, and I found it fascinating to see the change that he experiences. The third section, the one that comes after Japan surrenders, is again very much like the first one in terms of pace and feeling, because McGrady once again resumes his investigation and he is propelled very quickly toward until the end. And throughout the book, there are many thrilling moments, dangerous moments, and moments of great emotional impact. So, and one other thing is that because of this structure, and because of the time span of the novel and the various locations that McGrady visits and the great distances he travels, is that Five Decembers has an epic feel to it, which is something that is not common in mystery novels. You get a real sense of a journey and of a person that is very much changed. I'm talking about Joe McGrady here, but this sense of journey, this sense of epicness, this epic feel to the novel makes it so much different from other mystery novels that you can't help but feel that you're reading something very special indeed. Now, a few words about this cover that you see here. Some people may find it off-putting, even though I personally love this style of cover, but I do recognize that it might give you the wrong impression about the book. There is nothing erotic or overly sexual about Five Decembers. The cover is a throwback to the style of covers done in the 1940s and 50s and 60s in many pulp mystery novels. What Five Decembers is a historical mystery, a hardboiled mystery. It's not a cozy mystery. It does have its harsh moments, so be aware of that, but there's nothing erotic about it at all. In conclusion, I think that Five Decembers is destined to be a modern classic in crime fiction. And I think that if you're interested in crime fiction, in particular the historical setting of the Second World War, you should definitely give it a try. And you can find links in the description below to where you can pick yourself a copy. So if you're a crime reader, if you're interested in crime fiction, pick yourself a copy of Five Decembers and give it a try. I'm pretty sure you won't regret it.